I am Rathanor Calvis, great sorcerer of the Silver Sun. I serve under my lord and good friend Ozay Osborne. We have worked together since the days of the Horus Heresy to the present day, watching as the Indomitus Crusade goes its course. But going back to the 30th millennium, though my memories of those days is fuzzy at best, I remember that we were once part of the Thousand Suns Legion. I can't say that many memories stick out during my time amongst their ranks, but 3 events stick into my head to this very day. First is the day that I saw the Emperor in person. Being in his mere presence, I could feel the immense psychic power that exuded through his body and seemingly flow throughout the room. It felt like, if he willed it, he could bend the room around me with a mere thought or a single word. Truly a sight to behold, and why I understand why the Imperium foolishly believes he's a god. I can't remember the exact reason that I came face to face with the Emperor himself, but I can say for certain his mere presence has been seared in my mind, possibly until the day I die. The next memory I can remember is the burning of Prospero, the sight of my old battle brothers being unjustly slaughtered by those damnable wolves, the Emperor's own custodians, and those dreadful soulless Sisters of Silence. Those soulless witches were the worst out of all the attackers. They had no presence in the warp, and as such, absorbed the psychic energy away from our sorcerers, like a void absorbing light. They tie into the event that sticks out to me that day, because I was unfortunate enough to face one of them myself. I have never felt so powerless in all my life, and was forced to rely on fighting her with only the skills I had in martial combat and my trusty plasma pistol. The combat between us only ended when Magnus, our father, whisked us away to the planet of the sorcerers. The last and final memory that I remember of that time period was the day that our chief librarian, Azik Arman, cast the rubric to save our legion, which it did to a degree, just most of our legion was turned into dust, while I and several other sorcerers were spared. I also remember those terrible days leading up to when the rubric was cast. The agony was palpable as the flesh change ravaged our legion. I, along with Ozay and other sorcerers, were only able to ward off the majority of its effects through our sheer psychic will. Soon the rubric of Arman was cast. The light it emitted was near blinding and too intense to ignore as it swept through our ranks. Following it were the screams of our non-psycho brethren. Their voices were near deafening, but swiftly went silent as they were relegated to mere dust and sealed in their armor like a tomb. This was also the day that Ozay pulled me aside so we could discuss what to do next. Ozay wasn't always the most talkative man I've known, and has a tendency to be soft-spoken, but he was never afraid to speak his mind when needed.
Rathanor, my friend, I do not have faith in the leadership of our legion, considering everything that has happened up to this point.
I agree, my friend. I suppose it's the final nail on the coffin, in a manner of speaking. Magnus will probably kill the one responsible. I believe it was Ahriman, although this is mostly due to speculation. I feel no one that I'm aware of is that powerful, aside from Magnus, but he is too arrogant to consider turning most of his sons into dust.
Whoever it was will most likely become a martyr if he is killed, or worse. Then the Legion will probably break out into senseless infighting.
Perhaps. But I have faith that our brothers are at least not as lowly as orcs without a warlord leading them. At least, I hope not.
We paused for a moment before I spoke again.
What should we do then, Oze?
I feel we should leave this place. Despite any outcome we could fathom, any form of leadership would be unstable and would fracture at the slightest touch.
I see. Then shall we go and gather our loyal sorcerers and rubrics, I believe they're called, that are under our command and leave?
Oze nodded in response, and we went out to gather our loyal sorcerers along with our rubricae, which we had about 200 in total, and Oze's 5 personal Scarab Occult Terminator bodyguards. After gathering our small amounts of forces, we boarded Oze's battleship, the Shadow's Eye, and began traveling the warp for a new home.